interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hi.
Hi.
I am super excited because we have a returning guest who had a ton of fun talking to, but also she dropped a freaking bombshell on us at the end of her episode, which was not too long ago. And I was like, girl, what? You have to come back because what? So she's back and we're going to talk about that bombshell. So before we get there, just in case people are new to the show, I guess I should say her name is S.E. Tschritter. But so for those who might be new, please tell us a little bit about who you are.
Right. My name is Sam, and I have been writing since I was a kid. I didn't even realize that I enjoyed writing, thought that everyone wrote for fun, and that is not the case. So I had several books on Amazon by the time I realized I was an author. My friends were like, Sam, that like people don't do that for fun. Like that's not a thing. So
I
I
disagree,
learned, yeah.
but
I mean, we're not normal though, so I guess that's the
that's the
we can't.
caveat there.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. So the last time we talked on the show, I talked about my cerebral palsy and how I can only write with one hand. So I've written
Yes, we
multiple
did.
books, but I type with one hand. And that was the thing that we were talking about. And then at the end, I was talking about the book that I wrote with one hand, and it
Yeah.
just came out in January. And
Yay!
she was like, wait, what? You were married to an alcoholic who struggled with addiction and ADHD and what? So
Yeah, exactly. She waits the whole thing to say that was a thing that happened. I'm like, oh,
I
that's cool.
also,
That's totes cool.
well, you're like etiquette, you're not supposed to bring your book up toward the end, like have the conversation about
Yes,
life,
yes.
right? And
Which
then
I
at the
appreciate
end,
because sometimes people try to shove it down your throat, and I'm like, there's a flow to this. There
right, like
is.
if
Yeah.
you happen to be interested, this is the book I've written, right? And so I just like this is the book I've written.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah. But that's okay. I forgive you and invited you back, and here you're at. Okay, so let's jump to it.
Yeah.
How long? Just you know how this goes. You start your story. I'm going to interrupt you.
All right, all right. I grew up a good Christian girl, went to church like twice a week. I was really square. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never done drugs, didn't have sex before I was married. Like I was the good girl. And I always suspected that I was gonna have to marry my counterpart, like the opposite, because I I was just so naive and ignorant. I knew that I
Mm,
was going to need someone who understood that other piece of life.
makes sense.
Right. And so I met my now late husband, Clint. So when I talk about my husband and my late husband, I remarried in 2023. So there are two different there are two different
Two
people.
different
Clint,
people.
right. Clint is my late husband. Tim is my current beautiful, wonderful husband who has a
Okay.
lot of patience with me. Um, and I need it. Um, all right. So when I met Clint, my late husband, uh, he told me all about his addiction with alcohol and crack. He'd been a crack addict at that point, but that was in his past. He'd been sober at that point for about 9 months, which I didn't even understand that wasn't very long for an addict to be sober. Um,
Yeah.
and I didn't understand sobriety. I didn't understand addiction. So I didn't understand that, like, once an addict, always an addict. I was like, oh, okay, that's in his
Yeah.
past. He's over it. Like, fantastic. I didn't
Makes sense
understand,
to those who don't know,
like, I just
right?
didn't know. I didn't understand how important a healthy environment was for an addict and
Yeah.
those surroundings. So I lived in Minnesota because I'd gone to school in Minnesota for college, and I was moving back to Chicago at the end of the summer. So he met me between graduation and the time, like my lease was up and I was getting ready to move
Okay.
back.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can't get serious. I'm moving back to Chicago. Well, we ended up getting married and having 3 children and being married for 15 years. So
But you're not serious. You're not getting serious. No,
we're not getting serious. I will let you take me out to dinner and pay for a movie. We can't get serious. So, um, that's what I mean. And then he followed me to Chicago when we got married, but I had taken him out of his environment. He had a solid workplace with a lot of Christian men that he worked with that were just keeping that knew his story and were keeping him accountable to remain
Okay.
sober. He was repairing things with his family because he had burned a lot of bridges with his parents, and so they were
Yes.
rebuilding their relationship and doing a fantastic job. And then he had a church that he was going to, and he had all these like Christian friends, not even, but like people who understood that he was an addict and that he needed to be sober.
Yeah.
And I took him out of that environment, and he started working at a place in Chicagoland. It wasn't Chicago itself, but a suburb. And he started
Okay.
working.
I was like, Chicagoland. What?
Chicagoland is like the nickname for all the suburbs that are like
Oh,
west and northwest of
okay. Yeah,
Chicago.
I would not have known that.
It's a thing. We live
Oh,
in
now I know.
Chicagoland. It's like it's not a real city, guys. It's not a real city. So northwest suburbs. And all the guys he worked with were his age, and they would go bowling and drink. They'd go to Dave and Buster's and drink,
Mhm.
have barbecues and drink. And they were constantly inviting Clint to go out and do these things.
Ah,
He
yes.
he did not want, like, he wanted to drink, but he didn't want to drink. But
Yeah.
eventually he was just so lonely that he's like, sure, why not? And he ended up
Yeah.
drinking, and then he hid it from me. It was pretty bad. It was like our first 2 years of marriage we called the dark years, and
Mm.
there were relapses on and off. There were the police. We lived in an apartment at first, and then a townhome, and a neighbor called the police on us for a really loud argument when we lived in the apartment. And then we actually got in a physical fight, two physical fights when we lived in our house. And the second time wasn't as bad, but I called the police on him the second time because I was like terrified and done, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
So, so we called those our dark years. And
Makes sense. Yep.
right. And on his sober days, he's like, Sam, I want to get out of here. I want to sober up, but I need to get out of this environment. I need a clean start.
Hmm.
So I had a degree in youth ministry, and I decided to look for ministry jobs. So I went to Oregon. I got a job at a church in Oregon, and moved out there. And the first time he got drunk, I forgave him. Okay, like he messed up. It's
Hmm.
okay. Second time I said I want a divorce. I'm done. Like
Wow.
go. I'm like I can't.
Did you have the kids by that point yet, or no?
Mm-mm. No, we
Okay.
were kidless, but I had moved across the country for the man,
Oh, yeah, of course. I
right?
just putting
And
it straight
like
in my head.
gave up my family and my friends,
Yeah.
and I can lose my job if the people in our small community find out that you're drinking. Like
Yeah.
it was really bad. I was like I can't do this.
Hmm.
And then there was like this cool miraculous thing that happened. I described that situation in the book. Third time he got drunk, he'd been sober for 4 months. And so
Okay.
the third time he got drunk in Oregon, he was so mad at himself that he just quit cold turkey.
Wow.
I'd
That's
never,
a hard thing to do.
right? I had never seen anything like that before. And then he was sober for 9.5 years. Um, and we had 3 children together, 3 daughters. We became debt free. He got his associates, his bachelor's, his master of divinity, became a
Wow.
pastor. Like we had all this amazing
Fairy
life
tale type
experience.
story.
Right. Like we lived a lot of really cool life in 9.5
Yeah.
years. Um, After about 9 years of sobriety, he started saying, "Hey, Sam," and like he was a newish pastor to a small
Okay.
community where he was lonely. And he started saying, Sam, I've been sober for 9 years. It's okay. If you want to buy some alcohol and keep it in the house, you can. It's okay. And he said that to me multiple times. And mm,
My red
mhm.
flag warning is going off for you.
It was not going off for me in time. And so I bought the ingredients for a mudslide. And I made
Oh.
2 mudslides in like 2 weeks because I'm not an
Yeah.
alcoholic. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll make a mudslide, whatever. The ingredients were in the house. I went away for a writing weekend in January. his mentor hit his head on the ice and went into a coma, all in one weekend.
Ooh.
Mm. Hmm. So he picked up the bottle and he hid it from me for 7 months. And I caught
Now,
him. Go ahead.
this is gonna sound mean, but I don't mean it that way. How does somebody hide it from you for 7 months? Right? Like from a perspective of
Spouse.
somebody who has no idea about addiction and how manipulative they can be, and how tricky they can be. Um, how was he able to manage to do that?
Well, so first of all, I did catch him once. The vodka bottle, like the level changed,
Mm-hmm.
and it went down, and I was like, "You can't drink.
Hmm.
You need to
Yeah.
get help. This is not okay. You need to stop."
Yep.
Um, and so we had like a come to Jesus moment, and I was like, "He's a pastor. He's fine. It's good." So a lot of denial plays in, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see it. We were in a much healthier place than we'd been in 10 years prior, and
Yeah. You don't
I
want
didn't
to
want to
lose
see
that.
it.
No.
But also, we had three little kids, and
Mm-hmm.
I was momming. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I was momming all day long, and he was pastoring the church, and so he'd come home and he'd watch TV, and I'd go write because that was what I was writing a devotional book, I
Okay.
think. I was
Yeah.
writing a book at the time, and so my only time to write was at night after the kids went to bed. So
Makes
we would spend
sense.
time together, but there were a lot of nights where I was off in our sunroom
Mm-hmm.
writing and he was alone in the living room. And
Yeah.
he was doing it when I wasn't looking. And he wasn't doing it every night. He drank once and then told me he went several weeks before he did it again. Like he was really trying not to. He felt really bad.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he was trying
Yeah.
not to. So
Yeah.
his slide was slower,
Mm-hmm.
but then it wasn't slow. Um, there was a Thursday night in September that I caught him drinking. I caught him
Mm-hmm.
putting vodka into his Mountain Dew bottle, and right, and so you're not seeing it was just these little tiny bottles that he was
Yeah.
sneaking and just put it in
Yeah.
the thing he was already drinking, and you can't tell.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Like I said, they can be very. I mean, that's not. It's manipulative, yeah, because it's
it
a
is.
straight up lie.
So
They can be very manipulative and they can be very shady and that kind of thing. So I just, it's so important that people understand that for people who have never really had to deal with that part of life before.
funny, not funny. The first time he started drinking behind my back, he was hiding the bottles in my mixing bowls in the kitchen. I was like,
So what you're telling me is you don't cook a lot or at least
that's what
bake and
right. I was like, I should probably bake more often.
oh my gosh, that is so funny.
So, and the fact that he knew that was a good hiding spot is
Oh
like,
my gosh, that's actually really funny.
uh-huh. And I never found his hiding spot that second time around. I don't know where he was putting the bottle. We
Mhm.
lived next door to the church, so part of me wonders if he
Oh.
was just throwing them right into the church dumpster, and I didn't
Yeah, it would be a
even
good spot for it to, yeah, really
be.
hide
Like you
it.
think through that like a
Yeah,
detective at that point. But I
right.
caught him with the vodka and I said, "You can't drink, you can't drink, you can't drink. I'm not doing another Chicago. I'm not doing another Dark Years. Like we have kids now.
Hmm.
I'm out. I'm not
Yeah.
we're not playing."
Hmm.
And he had a defiant look on his face. I
Mm.
I don't know how to describe that except for anyone who's ever seen it before and been on the receiving end of that as the family member of an addict or family member of
Hmm.
someone with like severe anger. But it was just this defiance. Like it wasn't getting through. And in his head, he started thinking, I can't drink at home. I can't drink at home. I can't drink at home. So 2 days later,
Mm.
he had football practice for this semi-pro league he played for. And it was about an hour away from the house.
Okay.
And after practice, he stopped at a gas station, grabbed a few bottles, downed a few bottles, started driving home.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Mm-mm.
when he was in high school, he was 16 and out drinking 25-year-olds. And he had built up a lot of, like,
Tolerance.
a lot of tolerance. but he had not been drinking that much later in life. So his tolerance
Yes.
was not what it was supposed to be. Or not supposed to be,
What
but like
what
what
he
it
thought it
had been.
was.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So he drank a bunch, got behind the wheel again, and drove home, and the alcohol hit him before he got home. So I was waiting. I called him thousands of times, and this is how the
Mhm.
book opens, is with this story. And if anyone wants to read it, if they sign up for my newsletter at loveunedited.com, you get the first 3 chapters for free, so you can read the story and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Um, and if you like it, then buy the book and tell me what you think. But right, like I
I
love hearing.
agree.
Right, I love hearing what readers have to say. It's amazing and
Yeah.
honest. I like their honest opinions too.
Yeah.
Um, don't just tell me like oh, it's the greatest book ever. Uh, Anyway,
Honesty.
so that's where we start is with that, 1:30 in the
Okay.
morning.
Yeah.
Miss Evans, this is Sergeant Jeremy Reed with the New Ulm Police Department. There's been an accident. Your husband's been arrested. Your husband's been taken to the hospital. When he's released from the hospital, he'll be arrested for the felony charge of fleeing police.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Fleeing police. So not even the felony charge. I don't even know if it would be a
He
felony
was
charge.
like
The
sober enough to
DUI.
know he shouldn't be caught, but too drunk to stop driving.
Oh my gosh.
It was so bad. It was so, and it was a Saturday night, and he was a pastor.
Yeah.
So I was like, who's preaching tomorrow?
Oh yeah. I didn't even think of that. Like you even laid
Uh-huh.
it out, and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
sorry.
no,
You are
who's
preaching
gonna
tomorrow.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna wake up early. And he had 2 churches. It was a small town, so he went from
Oh.
one church to the other. I was like, I guess I'm gonna get the girls dressed and drive to each church and make some sort of announcement and read a Bible passage and pray. Like we're just gonna
Wow.
like that was I was on survival mode. Like the
Yeah.
next thing I have to do to fix this, which
Yeah.
a lot of people find themselves in that position when they
Mm-hmm.
are the family member of an addict. They
Yes.
like cover up and they have to fix the thing and they enable
Mm-hmm.
and they like because they're problem solving, right? They're
Oh my gosh. Okay, so on that topic, that thought
yes.
process
I'll pick
of
up where I left off. It's fine. It's good.
course, you know how this
Yeah.
goes. Of enabling slash um just wanting to problem solver. Basically, keep it in the house, right? Don't let other people know. That is kind of the environment I grew up in. So when
Oh,
yeah, so my mom ended up marrying an alcoholic when I was in between grades 8 and 9.
okay.
And my brother was actually in jail at the time because he was also an addict. And so it was just so toxic. By the time my brother came out of jail, and I mean, I'm not going to tell the whole story. You can go read one of my books. But like basically, he would come out, and then so we'd have a drug addict, or we'd have an alcoholic in the house, and you didn't know who to expect, what personality was going to be there, and it was at that time early 2000s, which you think is not that long ago, but holy crap, it's so long ago. And you still didn't really talk about it, right? You still, it's in the house, we will deal with it, don't talk about it. We don't want to involve other people. We don't want people to know our business, or we don't want the cops to be knocking at the door. What if the neighbors see? So being raised in that environment, and this is probably some of the thought process when you were like, oh, I want to divorce, that when you said that before and things, because you
Right.
got little kids, you don't want them growing up in this environment at all. It's really traumatic in a way that you don't even realize it until years later. So,
Mhm.
a couple years ago, 2, 3 years ago, something like that, I went back to therapy and got diagnosed with complex post traumatic stress disorder. And a lot of that had to do with all the tiny little things during that time in my life, because it's not one big moment, it's all of those little things. The fear of when somebody raises the voice, the fear of going home because you don't know what's going to happen, those kind of things. And so it's very scary when there's an addict in the house and there's kids and you're managing everything and you're in survival mode that whole time.
100% I was in survival mode. And so like just what is the next thing I have to do?
Yeah.
And we weren't talking about it like in Oregon when he relapsed, we didn't talk about it because I was in ministry and we were afraid of me losing my job.
Yeah.
In when he relapsed in Minnesota, in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, I was like, you need to go get help. You need to go to AA. He's like, there are
Yeah.
church members at AA. I was like, okay, what about New Ulm? New Ulm was 14 miles away. He's like, church members there too. I
Okay,
was
hold
like,
on. This is the Canadian me. How far is 14 miles in like time?
oh, I'm sorry. So 5 kilometers is 3 miles.
Okay, so for like 20-ish kilometers. Oh, okay, so like far, but not really that far.
No, it's not.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
was going to tell you in miles.
No miles. We do kilometers, but actually, even better, we do time. Things take
15 minutes. We have the
about
same
15
clock.
minutes. Yeah.
About
There,
15 minutes.
exactly. We say, oh yeah, because like from, okay, totally off topic, but fun. So where I live, Toronto is not too far from me. Honestly, I don't even know kilometer wise. I don't know. But what we say is, well, when are you going? Oh, you're going on a say you're going there on a Saturday at 5 o'clock, and there is a Blue Jays game happening. Okay, well that's gonna take you about 3 hours. Oh, you're going on just a random Sunday, nothing important happening? It's gonna take an hour and a half. That's how far it is.
Okay. It's
It's all in time.
it's 15 it's 15 minutes of farmland away,
Okay,
basically.
okay.
All
I
right.
get
So
that.
it's like a
I got
straight
that.
shot. So 2-lane road, and if you get stuck behind a slow car, then it takes longer.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I got that.
but anyway, so there are church members there. I was like, well, tell Fred. Fred was this super, oh my gosh, district superintendent. You can't say that
Okay.
5 times fast. Fred was the district superintendent. I'll lose my job. We live in a parsonage. I'll lose the house. Like, there was a lot of pressure to stay quiet, and it wasn't necessarily about the shame of it. It was about like losing our livelihood. And
Yeah. Okay. So
so there was,
I
yeah, it was rough.
all
That was
right. So
before his relapse, and then
okay.
everything hit the fan.
Yeah. So as a no, I haven't been to church in a while because the one I was going to pastors
And
changed
I'm
and I
not
did
trying to make this
not. No,
religious.
no,
It's
no.
hard.
No, this
Like,
this is an important piece. Um yeah, so it's been a while because when they changed pastors where the church I was liking, I don't care for him. He said some really not nice things. So, anyways, the point that I'm trying to make, and this goes along with I had a guest. Ooh, what was her name? I cannot remember, but she had a doctor husband who had depression and died by suicide. So, similar trains of thought here. Somebody in a specific profession, whether it is a doctor or a pastor, or I'm sure there's other of those higher class professions, you don't want to talk about because you're so scared to lose your livelihood, which I totally get. But at the same time, how are we as a society as a whole helping anybody to overcome and be, be sober or be not depressed or be whatever they need to be a better themselves?
they have to
If
back
we're
themselves.
if we're basically forcing them to shut up and be quiet because of the fear of losing everything. And it's not, like I said, it's not just the pastors, it's
Well,
doctors and all those kind of higher up type professions. We as a society need to do better for them. That's all. We just need to do better.
I agree. I
Anyways.
agree. Okay. So that was Saturday night, a long time ago, and 6 hours later, I was getting ready to go to church. I had conditioner in my hair,
Oh,
um,
okay.
shampoo, or I don't remember.
Whatever.
Phone rang, got out, thought it was the police officer. Miss Evans, this is the hospital calling. We found something on the CAT scan. You need to come in right away.
Oh no.
Hmm. Hmm.
So had that not happened, there would have been no CAT scan to find this thing. So like God works in mysterious ways and really not fun, really twisty turny things, you know?
I talk about that in the book because everyone act like the accident was a good thing.
It's still
Like
not.
we wouldn't have found the cancer if it is stage 4 cancer in my 38-year-old husband. No, he was 36 when he was diagnosed. He was 38 when he died. So stage 4 cancer, and he had pain in his, it was in his like abdomen, is sarcoma, so it was soft tissue, but it was by his ribs.
Okay.
And it had gone into his ribs by the time we found it. It was inoperable.
Oh.
But he was playing football, so his ribs hurt all the time because he was 36 years old and playing football.
Playing football. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Not young
So,
and spry anymore.
right? And I mean, there were a lot of guys that looked up to him and said he had like huge kahunas, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
amazing."
yeah.
Um, but like, we just equated his aches and pains to all that. We never would have gone to the doctor to
No.
get checked out ever, ever.
Yeah.
And so the accident gave us 20 more months with him, with Clint, and it gave us 7 more birthdays and 2 more Christmases, and his 2-year-old, she was 2 when that our youngest was 2, our oldest was 5 when
Okay.
the accident happened, and then they were 8 and 4 when he passed away. So it gave him more time with the kids.
Mhm.
And and it was awful. Everyone was like, cancer, 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 the sky's falling, the sky's falling. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he lied to me.
Uh,
He lied to
right?
me. He hid it from me. I am I am facing the consequences of his choices.
Yeah.
We had planned to go to Europe together. Um, Felons can't leave the country. Uh,
Right. Yep.
we were filling out forms for our passports. We were
Wow.
getting ready to leave, and so he took that from me. Finances, like he totaled the car, so we had to
Yep.
buy a new car, which is a whole nother story because he bought like this huge beater upper thing and didn't feel like he was worthy of having a good car,
Mm.
like a car that like the heat didn't work, and we lived in Minnesota, so
Oh. Okay. I'm bad at geography, but I even know that that's cold.
like having a car with no heat in Canada. Like
Yeah.
that would be
That's
fine
cold.
for like 6 months of the year, maybe
Yeah.
5. It'd be
Yeah.
okay. No heat. It's fine.
Brr, especially with kids. Brr.
Yeah. We had another car that I drove that had heat.
Mm.
Um, so that was it. That's the story. And in the middle there, he had court ordered counseling appointments, like group therapy
Mhm.
sessions. He had chemotherapy twice a week. He had all this stuff going on. So we didn't have a ton of time to work on us and our marriage
Yeah.
and the fact that he broke my trust again.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's more detail in the book. This is
Of
like
course. Yeah. Yeah.
broad strokes.
Of course.
But this was in the middle there. He said, Sam, what are the chances I'd be married to an author whose best work comes from wounds? I want you to write my story. And I was
Yep.
like, and I didn't want to because I knew how dark it was. I knew, like,
Yep.
he told me snippets of his childhood. There was a babysitter that physically abused him. His parents did their best. His parents did their best, but they did not understand ADHD.
Yeah.
And so he was punished a lot more often than he probably should have been,
Mhm.
where he needed grace, he received punishment.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of stuff like that. And then I knew about Chicago because I lived it, and I
Yeah.
knew, and I was like, I do not want to write this story. It took me 7 years, so I didn't finish writing it before I died.
Yeah.
I cried all the time, like wept in my garden as I was processing the pieces
Yep.
because I had to relive everything over and over in order to write it,
Understandable. Yep.
right? To write it well. Called my mommy a lot. Mom, and like, I don't want to write this scene. I don't want to write this, but I got it. I got it done, and he wanted people who experienced, like, who thought they were pieces of garbage, right? And that's not the word he used,
Mhm.
but like, I'm a piece of trash. He wanted
Mhm.
people who thought that about themselves to know that, that there's redemption, that God loves them, that they are worthy of love, that there's nothing they can do that will make God love them less. And because that was his story, and
Yeah.
he wanted people to hear the dark and the dirty and the awful,
Yeah.
because you can't have a redemption story unless there's something to be redeemed from. So,
Right? Yeah. Oof.
yeah.
And
His
that, ladies and gentlemen, is the bombshell she dropped on us at the very end of the last episode.
right.
Rude. Rude. You
There's
fixed it though.
I did, yeah. And I mean, we didn't talk about a lot of that stuff when we were going through it because you're going through it. You don't want to share things with people unless they have something to help you with or offer. And
Right?
so
Exactly.
I got a nasty review from his cousin.
Tell me
A
more.
a
You
one
brought it up. I want to know more.
one star book review, which is like a dagger to the heart for an author. And she said in the review if I could leave 0 stars, I would. And
What was her
she's
reasoning? Just because she didn't want it shared, or?
well, no, so this is the confusing part. So she said like basically that I didn't tell the whole story. And then her argument that she expounded on actually was the whole theme of the book. So
Oh,
I don't know if she finished reading it because
could be.
if she said like this, I know at the end, Clint, truly loved himself and knew he was loved by God. And I was like, yeah,
Sounds like that was the whole point of
that
it.
is
And
the
I haven't even read it, but like just you describing what it's about,
that is the whole
that's
point. And I was like, are you just mad because you're not in the book? Like,
right.
I don't know. I
Weird.
I don't. She was hurt. It reads like a grieving family member.
Which kind of makes sense. Plugging my
It
computer
does.
in. There we go.
And she was reading a lot of those details for the first time.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry that you're reading that your cousin put his hands on my throat and chokeslammed me. Like,
Yeah.
but that really happened. That was our true life, and we want people to know that those are real struggles that real people have, and
Right?
this is how we work through that. So
Exactly. Yeah,
I
I
don't know
was
what to
I
tell
was
you.
lucky when I've released some of my nonfiction stuff because obviously there's always that worry that somebody's gonna be like, that's not how it happened or whatever, whatever.
Mm.
Um, but the one thing as you're talking about, some people reading things for the first time, when I released Embracing Me, this is going back to 2024, 2 years ago.
Not very
No,
long ago.
no, I'm lying. It is much before that. I am totally lying right now because it was before
Before
Goodbye Too
COVID.
Soon.
COVID is like a
Ye-
really good
it
landmark.
is. It is definitely before. So it's like 6 years ago at least. Yeah, because it was before my brother died. Okay, so I'm totally lying. It's like 2018 maybe.
That was a
It was a
bombshell, by the
while.
way, that you just dropped that your brother passed away. Just
Not a bombshell, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We're leading over there.
okay.
So
Sounds
anyway,
good.
so I released this book, Embrace Me, about my struggle with depression, and I do talk about some of the stuff like my brother and my stepfather and whatever. But my cousin read it. Now this cousin, he's younger than me, and when I was pregnant and homeless, um, I lived there. And so he didn't realize, right? You can drop bombshells, so can I. Boom. Um, and so he didn't realize all the reasons of what led me to be always at their house and what led me to stay there and all that stuff. So later when he was over, because I gave him a copy, I was like, here, read this, because he was struggling with something. I said, here, read this. And then when he was over for, I want to say he came over for my brother's funeral at the time, and he goes, I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it was so out of the blue. I'm like, what? He's like, I didn't realize. Like, he was like, I was so mad at you for being in my house, for taking up time. I didn't know all the stuff that was happening. And now I do. And I'm sorry for all that anger. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you. And I'm not sorry for being there, but I'm sorry that it was such an imposition,
Right.
right?
Right. And you truly were, right? Like
Yeah.
you didn't want to be there, but
No, sleeping on a pull-out couch while pregnant, not fun. All right, just saying, it's not the best time.
Those bars on your back? No, thank
Right?
you.
It's not a good time.
Not like right.
No.
So, I mean, his dad and brothers, they all got a copy of the book prior
Okay.
to
Oh,
the
good.
release,
That's
which
nice.
I didn't have to do, but
Yeah.
in order to honor Clint, I wanted to give his family a chance. His mom
Yes.
chose not to read it, which is it's totally fine. I
Yep.
get it. Dad said his youngest brother didn't say a whole lot. His dad said publish it the way Clint wanted it written, like write
Yeah.
it the way he
Oh,
wanted it written. So that
good.
was a huge blessing,
Yeah.
and I gave him props in the back of the book, like thank you.
Yeah.
And then his middle brother Corey was like, "Oh my gosh, it was so good to hear my brother's voice again."
Wow. So you really had him come through.
Did like I got it right. That was probably like
I
the
love
best I was like, "I love you, Corey. Thank you
it.
so much."
So that cousin review, well, they can just go,
Right, like they didn't know the things. They weren't
no,
living it. They didn't,
no.
yeah, she,
So very far removed. Um,
yeah,
Now, my brother's death is not a bombshell. It's a bombshell to you because
it
clearly you
is.
have not subscribed and watched my show. You need to
All
do
of
that now.
them. Okay.
All of them, every
I
single one.
subscribe.
Specifically,
I
okay, so for
subscribed to you for on two of my channels today.
yes, excellent. Um, Specifically, there is an episode from 4.5, almost 5 years ago now, called "Loving an Addict" that
Mm,
I recorded few days after the news of his death. So if
mm.
you want to actually see me cry, which I don't do, that would be the episode to watch. And I do go into a lot more details about it, but very similar. I wrote a book. It was not in his perspective, it was the little sister perspective. But
Okay.
I was so lucky that people more like the feedback you got from the brother and the
Right.
father.
And I've
It
had nice
was
people be like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, I
like
didn't realize
this
what
is
you were going through. Like
yeah.
humans.
Yeah,
Nice ones.
I had his ex-girlfriend. She was still friends with him right till the very end. She was actually the one that called me to tell me because she knew before anyone else. She gave me one of the best reviews and just said, "This is exactly right. You know,
Mm,
this is his story. This is exactly right." And I'm like, so it makes you feel all so good when you
right.
get
Because
that feedback,
you tried. I like if you were anything
right?
like me, you tried to get it right because you wanted to
Right,
honor the person. Like I loved my late
right.
husband. I wasn't
Yeah,
trying to like
bash
make
him or
anything up.
something,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Exactly.
I
Not to
wanted him to have
mention,
a
I mean, your children could pick up this book at any point in their lives and read it. Why would you want it to be anything less than him?
my oldest daughter is 15 now,
Oh,
and she was 14 when the book came out, 14 in the beginning of the year, and she's like, "Mom, I want to read the book." I was like, "Okay, can I paperclip some sections for you not to read?"
yep,
You can, Mom. You can. You can paperclip them. And I was like, "Okay, you're gonna just read the whole thing anyways, so let me
yep,
tell you what's in it so that you
yeah.
know
Be
here are the hard
prepared.
parts." Right. And I described the babysitter scene, the scene with he and I and the domestic violence at the beginning of our marriage. I told those pieces instead of showing them. They're told
Okay.
well, but
Okay.
I just wanted to like I needed to get through it,
Yeah.
possibly for my own sake, but also if I had written it really well, people would have been sobbing and they would have felt bad for me, and we never would have moved on from that part of the book. So just
It sounds like you need tissues with it anyways, so
100%. People are like, I laughed and I cried when I read, like,
and
so I
that's
knew it.
what makes a good book is laughing, crying, all of the
All the
things.
emotion. And I was like, but do you feel sorry for me? No, we don't. We're just proud of you for what you overcame. I'm like, okay, well, that's
That is one of the
different.
best things as an author to hear, especially when it's a memoir, because you're not releasing a book
You
for
don't want
pity.
pity. That's gross.
Yeah,
No, don't
that's
want
not why you're
pity.
doing it. You're doing it to either a honor or not either, probably multiple reasons, but to
Right,
honor the person's life
right.
and to bring an awareness to a specific topic and to
Yeah,
make sure that they stay alive.
yeah, exactly. And I showed that, or I told that part instead of showing it, and then she
Yeah.
ended up not reading it anyway. I think she just needed permission to read it, and then
Yeah.
she's. But I have copies all over my house, so I'm not going to be able to keep them from reading it.
Right.
Like that's like
And
so.
you know, one day when they're ready, very well might just pick
That's
it up and read
a
it. I did that at work today. I'm trying to say something to a customer on the phone, and I'm like, I cannot talk. Can I please start over? They just laugh at me. They're like, okay. Like, oh, words are hard. This is why I write them and I don't talk them.
have that too. I'm like, I say all the wrong things. Let me write
Right.
them.
Exactly. Well, before, I mean, we've already kind of talked about what the book is, obviously, but before you get to show the cover again and tell us where to buy it and all that fun stuff,
Like Reading Rainbow. Do you remember that show?
I am a little bit too young to really appreciate the remembering of it, but I do know it ish.
They just held up their books and they were like,
Yeah.
Reading Rainbow, and there's this whole song.
Isn't it
And
like the more you know or something? I don't know.
so like the more you know, the
Something.
more you grow. Something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
something like that. There, I saw some post, and now it could have been completely fake, but they were like bringing it back. I don't know. I don't know.
I
Could have been
hope
fake
they do. It
news.
was so like, oh my gosh, I love the reading because I was a book geek before I even understood that I was a book geek. So that was one of my
Right?
favorite shows is Reading Rainbow. Show us
Yeah.
up.
My
Anyway,
kid loved Word Girl when she was little. I don't know if you've ever heard of Word Girl. It was on PBS. So
is she
you might.
the like the superhero with the word?
Yeah! Yes! Word up. It's Word Girl. Um, anyways, what would be your piece of wisdom to a family member who is struggling with, not themselves, but like struggling with their family member
Uh-huh.
who is in addiction and they are just finding out and going, oh my gosh.
Everyone's story is so different, and
But
every
this is your
situation
wisdom.
is. This is my wisdom. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
their story is not my story, and their story is not anyone else's story. Um, if an addict, I will say this, if an addict is confessing, they want help. Addicts don't confess until they are ready for help, and they don't tell you their secrets about where they're hiding things unless they want to be sober. So those are signs that like do everything in your power to work with the addict in those moments because right then the person is stronger than the addiction. But a lot of times the addiction is stronger than the person. It's almost like a possession. And if your addict, if your loved one who is addicted does not want help, then there's nothing you can do to get them to stop drink. You're just gonna change the behavior for a little bit, or you're gonna change their like where they go to do it. You're gonna change their system. They're gonna work around you to do what they still want to do. So look for those signs that your addict wants help. I have a book called Prayers for Addiction,
Oh,
Prayers Against Addiction. If people want that, I'll that one I have a bookcase like right off camera. I'll grab it and show it to you in a second if you want. But
perfect. Yeah, might as well.
I don't know, like if
That is
it's
a good
hard,
piece of wisdom.
right? Because if addicts don't want help, they
Yeah,
can't change. They won't change.
exactly. Exactly. That's a great piece of wisdom. You go grab that book because I'm going to say
Okay.
something completely friggin' random while you do that. I was just fiddling with my light because I realized I was like really white, and I mean I'm super white, but now I look peachish. I feel like I look more like my color as opposed to like straight up paper white. I don't know. You can let me know. Look, she's back. My rambling
This
works.
is really just like 10 feet, which is
I know what 10 feet is because we measure things in feet.
do you? Okay.
Like
I don't
I'm
know.
I'm 5'3" Like we measure heights in I don't know. We're
How many
strange.
meters are you?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We are
So you don't know
strange.
miles, but you okay. So I'm sorry. That's really confusing to you.
It is. But when you live here, it's not confusing at all. It
I
just
also
is.
don't know that you're Canadian because I don't hear your accent. Say
Because I
again.
don't really have one. Again,
Where did it go?
I don't have an accent. So I live super close to the border, like right by New York.
Okay.
We
You
don't
s-
tend to have the same accent as like as you go further north
Oh,
or
it's a little bit right there.
east.
Okay.
A little bit. Or like when you go east and you get to like those ones that I can't even understand them, but you go north and you go east of here, you get more like Canadian accent. We have like this weird mix Canadian American. Same with the people in Buffalo
Right there.
because
Are
we
you
cross
trying
so
now? Because I
much.
hear it now. Okay.
I
Thank you.
probably am. You're welcome. It was it was about time to I don't even know any other words to make
Yeah.
it sound more Canadian.
There's a book that I read to my kids all the time, and they rhymed rain and again. So every time I read the book, I was like, "It's nice to see your face again," and I was like, "This was written by a Canadian."
Yeah, I would not rhyme those two words.
Yeah,
That
but
would have.
it was a really precious book. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Rain.
time for reading Rainbow.
Yes, time for reading Rainbow. Show
All right,
me.
so here's prayers against addiction. Reading Rainbow. Um, yeah. So I had multiple people, multiple addicts help me write this book.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
there's a prayer on this side written by an addict, and then there's space to write your own prayer for your
That's
addict.
super cool.
And we don't call them addicts, we call them prodigal because the promise of the prodigal is that the prodigal comes home.
Yeah.
And then there's a Bible verse for each prayer has a theme, and then there's a Bible verse that goes with the theme. So,
That's
and then there are
cool.
quotes like for the prodigal son. So
Oh, and
it's
that
super
looks
pretty
so
inside.
pretty.
It does. I wish I could show you more here. Let me find another one. Oh, there's poetry. I wrote poetry too. So
Oh, wow. That
there's
is
like,
a really nice book.
thank you. My typesetter is also my sister, but
Oh.
she works for Tyndale, so it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna do this for you, like for funsies.
Mm.
She actually is good at what she. Anyway,
That's
you know what I
important.
mean? Like she's good.
Yeah, yeah. She knows
She's
what
good at
she's
what she does.
doing.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So that's a quote from the prodigal son. Anyway, so there are 70-ish prayers for
Oh,
addicts,
wow.
and they're more for like what the addict is dealing with. It's not like we're gonna pray for peace and we're gonna pray for wisdom. Like those
Mm.
prayers are great, but
Right.
this is when an addict listens to legitimate grievances, the addict's reputation, when an addict faces grief, buckling beneath responsibilities and stress. So you're
Oh,
praying for your addict in like real life addiction
yes,
situations.
scenarios. That's
So
very cool. Very different too, I feel like.
I do too. Like I put a lot of thought
Yeah.
into that. Into that.
I can tell.
My actually one of my middle daughter wrote three of the prayers too, as the
Oh,
daughter of an addict.
that's
So she
nice.
wrote
That's sweet.
self-harm was one of them,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the others, but she wrote really pretty prayers. So,
Oh, I love that.
and here is the prodigal son. I have an autographed copy in the attic.
Amazing! Where would you have ever picked that up?
Just open it up and sign it. Ta-da! Um,
That's awesome.
At 1:30 a.m., Samantha Evans received the call every spouse dreads. Miss Evans, there's been an accident. 6 hours later, Miss Evans, we found something on the CAT scan. Instead of preaching that Sunday, Pastor Clint Evans went to jail with a BAC of .24, a cancer diagnosis, and a felony charge of fleeing police. The prodigal son, crackhead to Jesus freak, chronicles a Christian's lifelong battle against demons, addictions, and unworthiness, and portrays God's backlash of grace toward a man whom many branded unredeemable.
Dang. And on that note, we have dropped the mic, but I'm not going to really because it's so expensive and I don't really want to replace it. My cats have dropped it enough.
But anyway, that's the story. That's it. And
That's the whole bombshell that you dropped on us. I appreciate that you've come back and unbombshelled it, opened it. But that sounds bad,
yep,
especially with what's going on right now. We need a different term. You gave us a present that is now unwrapped. Yes, that's better. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. But with everything going on right now, I don't think bombshell is a great terminology. I, I can't hear you. What happened?
I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you again.
I started mumbling like a teenager. I just started
Oh.
talking quietly. Like, no, I was like, no, that's the world we live in, is what I was saying. But I was kind of like talking to myself.
Mhm.
Uh,
It is the
uh,
world we live in. It's just
can't
really so. It's somebody that I know is stuck over there. He was supposed to be able to come home and stuck now, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's scary.
can't talk to yourself when you're on a podcast. Like that
You
doesn't.
can't. All
I
right?
mean, you can, but it
No.
doesn't. You
It
wouldn't have
doesn't
as
work
many
well.
viewers, probably,
No,
right?
no, it doesn't work well. Unless I'm doing an episode by myself, then I guess it's kind of like talking to myself, but then it's also like talking to everybody who's watching. So it's
Right. You're
samesies.
talking out loud. You can't mumble
Yeah.
to yourself or like
Yeah.
just think. A
Right?
podcast with just thinking.
Right? You just stay, just. Yeah. The funny part is my kid had probably listened to it because she's all about that ASMR sounds and just like
What?
quietness, and like she'll watch some of this stuff, and I'm like, what is happening right now? What? Why are you just listening to random like hushness? I don't.
First,
Yeah, I don't get
everything
it. Anyways, she's a
saying
strange,
to you. Yeah.
right? She's a strange banana, so it's fine.
You can hear me okay now, though, right? You
Yeah,
gotta
it
tell
like
me.
it's like
Hold
weird.
on.
Every once in a blue moon, it just went up. But like I heard you the whole time, so
Sorry.
yeah. What else?
If we
All
do
right.
this again, I will wear a mic.
I
It's not charged.
it's all good. It's all good. All right. So before we say goodbye, where are people going to pick up these books?
Loveunedited.com. I mean, they're on Amazon as well, but loveunedited.com. There's a connect with me button where you can order the book. You can connect with me on Instagram. Give me a pity follow because I don't know why that's not growing. Nessie Tschritter.
I might give you a pity follow if I haven't already. I don't know if I have. I can't remember.
I've been stuck at like 1,052 followers forever, and like or 58, like, and I'll get to 61, and I can't
That's
break.
That's how
Yeah,
I felt on YouTube. I was stuck at like, what was it, like 282 for the longest time. And I'm like, what the heck? And then it just like grew really fast. And now it's, plateaus out again and
right,
just above
right.
300 for a while. And
So
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna do this reel with my husky.
You
Yeah,
have a husky?
I do. There's the next present unopened.
I love that. I have three puppers.
I have
One
a
is
husky,
half husky.
and I'm gonna get him to talk with me and do a reel about like, oh, you think you deserve a stake in royalties for letting me use you as social media content? Well,
Oh,
then
I
get me
love that.
5,000 followers.
Oh,
So
I love that.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
I like
But
it.
anyways,
I would follow for the puppy. I would also be expecting more puppy though, so you have to continue to puppy.
right. I mean, every
Yeah.
like seventh post is my stupid idiot husky.
Oh,
Um,
well, that's fine then.
and he's a narcissist too, so we could
They
talk about
are.
his
Yeah,
we could talk
they
about
are.
his issues and how he like intentionally hurts my flowers to hurt me.
Oh, mine will intentionally throw his toy under the couch every night and then bark at us so that we have to get up
Until
and until it's lifted so he can go and get it.
100%.
Every single night. Yeah. Yeah.
Loveunedited.com. Let's connect. There's TikTok, Instagram, buy the book, anything you want. If you join the newsletter, you get those 3 free chapters of The Prodigal Son, so you can see if you like it and like my writing before you buy the book,
Which you will, so just go
which
buy
you
it.
will, because it's really well written, in my opinion.
Obviously.
It took 7 years. I took my time, so it's
Right? Exactly. It's fine.
it's good. It's all good.
Awesome. So thank you everybody for joining us today. If you have not already, hit the like and subscribe button. As we just discussed, we don't like plateauing. Just keep doing it so we can go up and up and up. Anyways, because these are also right? These are also super important conversations that we have. Yes, we have fun, we laugh, we try to make it lighthearted, but they are tough. They are important and they need to be shared. So don't just subscribe, but also share them out to everybody and tell everybody else to subscribe and share because it is important. And remember,
Encourages your host. It
yes,
does.
it does. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak